So what I want to do, I want to take all these different parts off first. So I will take this is the trotter. You use your knife and you cut around until you hit bone. When you hit bone, you'll use the saw. You don't want to saw through meat because what happens is it tears the meat and it doesn't end up with a very good product. So that's one cut there. There's a joint right here. Yeah, right? So when you know the anatomy, you'll know where the joints are, and that's when you dislocate it, right? So there's one here, and there's one over here. So this gives us a nice big hock. I could cut lower down here, but I want this as one of my nice pieces. So I'll put it over here. Okay, right there. Right, so basically I'm making a straight cut. Okay, that's one more cut. We're gonna come down here. There's another one here. Here's one. So those are my first set of cuts that we're going to do, right? I've scored it, I know where I'm going to cut. When you're using a butcher's knife, make sure it's nice and close to your body, that you're not slashing and moving in different areas. There's different styles. This is a German style, this is a French style, and this is a Japanese style, right? So I will take the saw. Can you hold that? Okay, so there's one trotter. Yeah. Okay. So you want to use gravity for a lot of the meat that you work with. Bend it a bit. There we go. Okay. So anytime you cut bone, you'll have bone dust. This stuff's pretty gross to eat, so just make sure you wipe it off. Okay, so that's that. Since I'm at the front here, I'm going to go around, just around the bone.
Which one is the atlas?
This is the atlas bone.
Oh.
The atlas bone is like the vertebra that holds the head in place. You can knife.
What kind of knife is that?
It's called a scimitar.
Scimitar?
Watch out. So that's the head. If you know the bone structure, I cut in between.
The cartilage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the back. There's another trotter. So there's another hock. Again, if you hit it right, you'll hit it right between the joints. Your spine's been broken there, and that's due to obviously. Yeah, when it's doing the other big transportation like that. So I'm gonna cut and take, and then off. What does this remind me of? So that's the tenderloin. If I were to leave it on and cut these into steaks, this would be the T-bone. Right? So this is where the T-bone on beef would come from. Right? So what I'm going to do, I have my tenderloin partially removed. There's always natural separations, just like when you did chicken, same as when you did fish. Okay? Right? So that is, well, not ripped, tears naturally. Okay? So I'm going to take this leg off. I'm going to switch around the swing here. Okay, so using gravity, I'm going to cut right straight through here. I'm going to do the big cuts, break it all down, and everyone's going to just help clean everything up and unlock it. So, just going back to what you're getting, people are paying for the tenderloin. Things like this though. Yeah, you want to hold, Linda? I just threw the tailbone there. What we're going to do is the big cuts over here. Eventually we're going to go over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a whole bunch of ground meat, and we're going to divide it. Okay, I got it.
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah. Let go.
That's
a little bit. So which thing you don't want to use. Okay, so that's your leg. This is for ham. If I left the hawk on, I could bake the whole thing, and you'd have a leg of a ham, right? So that's a nice piece of meat as well.
So that was only the tailbone that was there?
That's my dividing line.
Yeah.
Where it curves, I go straight down. This is the spine. Tailbone, right? This is the tailbone right there. That's the H-bone. Okay? So now I can remove my tenderloin. Okay? So this is the tenderloin. This is called the chain. The chain peels off, and then you have some silver skin, which you have to remove. Right?
So chef, two tenderloins, so the other
Yes, on the other half.
one piece.
You cook them together, the cheese?
No, you separate the chain. All the bits from the chain, you'll grind, and then you'll sauce the loin end. This is the rib end. Here, I want the copa. What I do is I count ribs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I want copa. So I'm gonna sacrifice ribs for more premium meat on the shoulder, right? So this is where it cuts through, right? So copa. It's a product that comes from the shoulder that is cured and smoked. So it's like a big sausage. Okay? Alright? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this dividing line here. If I didn't want copa, I'd cut it over here. Right? So in here. Watch out.
So this is different from this, or is it this? It's the same.
That's
It's the same.
continuation.
But you're cutting it now, and you're gonna use this.
Yes, I
What
want
about
this. This is my premium piece right there.
And this,
This is going to be ribs.
even the top part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's your hawk. Smoked. What am I saying? So while I'm taking and this is that first one. The line right here, it's a little bit harder because this for a prosciutto. Got it? I would be leaving it on here. Okay. But no, I don't think prosciutto. I'll show you one. Now this is the Boston butt, and this is the picnic shoulder. So this is where we want that nice piece of meat to come out of.
Is that pork jowl? No.
Jowl is in the head.
Oh, it's in the head.
We haven't even dealt with the jowl, right? So this is the shoulder. Here's the chop. I'm gonna go 3 fingers up. If you've got small fingers, ladies, go 4. Right? Here. Okay, so that's my big fat pork chop.
You just want extra.
Yes, you want to show the bone.
Oh.
So usually I go 3 fingers, and that's my marker. And then I want my chops to be straight. So this belly piece gets a little bit wiggly. It's not exactly the prettiest. Okay, so that's where I go, here and here, and then I cut straight through.
Chef?
Yeah.
I thought that chops are only where ribs is.
Yes. So this is the rib end.
And then,
That's the loin end.
but there's also chops.
This
there.
chops, yeah. Loin chops. Rib chops, loin chops. So I cut a little bit too much into the cheek here. Okay. If I removed these ribs, these would be baby back ribs. These ribs left over, they're extra. They're called spare ribs.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So your spare ribs connect to your baby back ribs.
Okay.
That's where all the ribs.
There we go. This guy here. Okay, so I just go right to the bone. That's the bacon. And I just saw through the bone.
So that entire slab is now the bacon.
After one more cut.
Okay.
So you say the bone dust is bitter?
Well, it doesn't taste nice, you know, it's grainy. So you want to wipe it off as much as possible. So this is the shoulder. Right, the spine, we got a little piece of bone there. Okay. So now we have this beautiful loin, and we have this beautiful belly.
So the bacon is all of this.
This whole slab, yeah, is the bacon.
Looking from here.
There we go. See? It's 5 layers of fat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 layers. So this is the spare ribs. We want to take it out.
All the bacon comes out.
Yeah.
And basically, there's a natural separation.
I feel like just Eric should take video and then send it to everyone.
Yeah.
Instead of all 7 people looking at it, trying to do it. He's really got the best phone.
And over here,
I maneuvered around to get here. Yeah.
Obviously, they want to be weird.
this is top of the shoulder. This is the arm. You see where the arm is. So that's what they call the shoulder roll.
So I just pull.
Shoulder rolls. Yeah, I'm just pulling it. So this one here. So the way I'm cutting, I'm not leaving a lot of meat on the bones because I want my money to be in the bacon. If I want a nice fatty spare ribs, I would cut lower down, sacrifice my bacon for my ribs. see, it naturally separates. I can forcibly use my fingers and just peel it back. Okay? So I'm not cutting into meat, I'm cutting into muscle sections.
Yeah, and then the skin after I rendered it out was ground back in the sausage. So at this point now we've lost 2 tablespoons. Okay? So these guys here, when you get it, don't worry, take the ribs off. Don't worry as much about the bones. Just kind of debone it and get the bigger pieces and then we're going to dice it up. Okay? So that's the shoulder. Now the top part here, I'm actually going to take majority of the fat off. Not all of it.
How often would you want to take more meat to get that spare rib medium?
How often would I do it?
Like it's just
I want bacon, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm sacrificing my spare ribs for bacon.
yeah.
There's enough meat on here, little nibbles.
Yeah.
So if you chopped it off, squared it off, this is a little bit of a skirt. That's like a little skirt, right? And that's your, if I blocked it off, squared it off, this would be your St. Louis ribs.
That piece that you put there should be as soft as the tender one, right? The one you put there.
Yes, skirt is very, very tender. And I've got one extra rib here. So now I have bacon. With bacon, cut it however big pieces I want. Extra bones.
There's one of the little tricks grabs the shoulder blade itself and you cut it down.
So these little offcuts, we'll just use the boning knife, take out any meat, and then we can put it into brine sausage, or we could use this in stock. Right? So, how many pieces of bacon? Usually, I go 2 slabs, 4, 6, 7. So what I can do, slab bacon, right? So 1.5.
Pretty awesome.
Then you slice it with the machine.
You brine it, smoke it, and then slice. Yeah.
So it's never sold as it is.
It is.
Always grinded.
No. You can get it's just be pork belly, not bacon.
Yeah, we pork.
Pork belly.
Yeah.
If this were attached, let's say these two, right? I could take this, I could roast this whole piece without brining, and I'd have little ribs as I slice through, right? So these would be spare rib chops. Depending on where you come from, these are spare rib chops,
Okay.
right? So it's how they package and market and repurpose. With this, what we'll end up doing is we're going to skin it, right? Because skin is really difficult to chew. So we'll save the skin, and when we skin it, this is what we do. I'll just put this bacon here. Beautiful streaky bacon. Right? You're skinning. Okay, just taking that little piece of skin, just like how we do fish. And you want to get a little hole in there. Put your finger, right? Now you grip it because it's slippery. And you cut towards the counter. how you skinned it. No fat here, all the fat's in the bacon. You make beautiful dresses, shoes. So this we're going to render. This is lots of gelatin, lots of beautiful white fat that can go in there, right? Rendering is cooking out the fat. A little bit at the beginning. A little bit at the beginning.
After you render, do you eat that or we just discard?
You can keep it, you can chop it up, and you can mix it into stews and stocks if you want to.
Horrible fat.
Sorry. Okay. That can go into making head cheese. We're gonna cook the heads, shred all the meats, all these beautiful pieces of meats, remove it, use the gelatin that we made, and set everything into a loaf. That's called head cheese. Head cheese is made from head bits and a lot of the gelatin that we extract when we're cleaning the pork.
There's no further cleaning that you have to do, right?
It's gonna get cooked.
Okay.
So if they do get burned of hair, sometimes if there's too much hair, you get a blow circuit. You just blow a little bit, right? Okay. This jaw line, there's a cheek in there. This piece, see here, it looks like bacon. Okay? That is your guanciale. Jowl bacon. That's your
The
jowl
cheek,
bacon. Cheek bacon, right? So what I want to do is I remove that part in here. Take out all the bits and pieces first. Don't want any glands. That's my garbage. This way. Okay. Okay, so right there, that's the cheekbone. So I need to go under the cheekbone.
Oh, you're separated.
Yeah. So I'm going to peel it away from the cheek. Right there. That's your cheek, pork cheek. Right here.
And then sriracha.
So I cut against the bone. I don't want as much of this, so basically I'm going to cut around here, and that will be my cheek bacon.
This here can be cut to roast. Trying to just center it out because it's not consistent.
You're separating it from the jawbone, right?
Yeah.
That's a big piece of meat.
It is. So that was your cheek. That's your jowl bacon. This just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Some of the glands come out. Trim off all this extraneous fat. Trim off the edges. Salt it. I want to cut pork chops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 pork chops. So what I'll do is I'll cut it here, and then I can have a whole rack of pork, which I can roast. Or I can separate into single pieces and have pork chops.
And if you can find
Okay. So the bone ends here, I want a little bit more meat. Go in here.
so cut, I was just gonna say, cutting through the vertebrae.
Here you're just following the line of the bones.
Just follow the line of the bones.
What we basically have here is fat,
Don't need a saw. Basically, I'm just using pressure to separate. Now you have a rack of pork. You could leave the skin on, cut into it, roast the whole thing. Or if you wanted to remove this, what's this piece? Only bones only.
Ribs.
Baby back ribs. Baby back ribs, right? So we want to make chops out of this. So remember how with the rack of lamb, you had to French it, right? So I'm gonna French this before I split it into smaller pieces. So what I want to do, see that beautiful eye, right? That's nice. This is where I want to cut it. Right there, on the eye. Eye, marker. Eye, marker. Sorry?
You don't need that.
No, that's my marker. That's my dividing line. So I find where the eye is. I just go above the eye. And here on this side as well. Right? So what I do, connect the dots.
Remember when we were doing the lamb? That was that piece of meat that was really good.
If you wanted to roast it as a whole thing with the skin on, how would you? Why do you have to cut the skin, and how would you cut it?
Okay, if I were roasting with the skin, what I do,
Now the money spot.
Again.
slash,
Yeah, slash.
right? I would on the other side as well. That way when this roasts, it splits open and becomes crackling, right? So this is a beautiful piece of meat. I want to remove that. So here on the bones,
And what this does is that's the bone in the okay, so you see nice ribeye steak, it's got that big bone sticking out. This is what that is. So in that four fingers is more of a garnish of the bone. If I put it like way over here, we have a really big bone sticking out. So do you want to sell some ribs?
you go into here.
But I'm just saying, more
And then between,
the more bone you're getting out of your chop, and the less rib you can sell. So if you were a butcher, you want to cut it down, you have a really enough. You know, and you can sell whatever you can get your money out of, right? So this is a really hard cut because you're cutting all the ribs at once. And you can see
Can you actually get your finger in between now and just literally pull?
it's a little bit,
I guess it's a little bit harder on the
Yeah.
pig than it is on the lamb.
yeah, it's a much bigger piece. So what you can do is,
Can't you just cut along the bones from the back?
no. Here, see? And just peel it. And just peel it off,
And then it will fall off. Or
right? So here, peels off the bone. Okay. So same here. This side here.
like again, it's all about yield, right?
Right?
Okay.
So basically I expose the bone
You don't get rid of
on both sides.
Yep.
but in turn,
So I don't have to scrape. That scraping sound is disgusting. It's like running your fingers down the cutting board, blackboard, right?
So once you've exposed the bone like that, should it just pop right out?
Yeah, you can peel it off
Right on.
yeah, so you know,
I have
if you
to
look at we have 100
one by one, right?
Yeah.
I best use that meat to make a decent amount of money. You know, do I want to carry my leg and sell it for $400? If I knew how to do that, yes. But it takes time. Or do we sell it over
That's the last one. Right. Okay. Wow. Just peel it back. Right. Now you're Frenching it
At the same time.
at the same time. And then you just trim these out.
The second you hear it stop,
See?
Yeah.
Okay.
What kind of cooking would you do with that cut you're ripping off right now?
This I would braise it.
Braise it.
I would braise it.
Similar to what you do with pork belly, I guess. Braise
Yeah.
it in that sense.
That's what cut. Okay. So now you have the whole top piece here that have little riblets. Got some that resembles bacon. A lot of fat. Braised would be very, very, very tender. Right? Okay. So with this, we'll cut into chops. But in order for us to cut it into chops, we need to remove some of this bone. And this is where the difficult part is. You need to use a saw.
try and cut a chop, at least out of this.
Okay. I'm going to remove some of these bones. These are feather bones.
Remove the skin first, and then we're gonna cut the
So they get in the way a little bit.
Okay, so what I would do is divide into 6 groups. Make sure everyone has a larger part, and we can just go through and start.
Is that where they sell as pork neck bones kind of thing?
Neck bones would be more this section here.
So you guys are
Okay.
gonna take the skin off and
Alright.
start working on those
So
bellies.
what you do is you take this and you
Take care of
saw.
what I do. And someone will take care of this. Going with that.
So basically you want to saw
Break all
this
the pieces too. Yeah, get that
off. Right? So you'll use your saw.
up in here.
So at the top,
You need to deal with the saw, it's right there.
someone's going to hold
Can I
this.
actually, just before we get started, let everyone know,
Hold that.
okay? Everything's labeled over here, okay? Bone-in chops, so those are gonna be these ones here. I'll show you how to French them later. Bone-out chops, roasts, obviously, pork bellies over there. We're gonna have to get one
Okay,
in
so I'll just
for
show you what it looks like.
we don't have yet.
Right? So when you remove
In the
that
back-
and you cut it,
In the back, there's 2
See it?
pots beside the grinder there.
if you cut it here, you get a boneless chop. Just that one piece. This is very difficult to eat. If you have this on, it cooks really, really takes a long time because it's too close to the bone. All right? You make stock, okay? You wanna hold it?
Isn't it easier to do it horizontally? Put it down?
No,
Like the salmon? You fix it down?
it's easier to see it this way. Put that off later. So now when I cut these, I have beautiful pork chops.
It's a big chop.
Nice chop, right? and then this piece you'll just trim off a little bit.
You have to take the skin. No?
Yeah. So you take this and then get it started. You can always trim a little bit more fat if you want to, and then you just clean the bone a little bit more. Right, so those are your chops. Skin. Is there a skin bucket?
Skin, yeah.
Oh. All right. So what I'm gonna get you to start breaking out. I'm gonna get some of you to debone this completely. So just with your paring, well, not your paring knife, your butcher's knife, you're gonna go in and just follow the bone. Just cut towards the bone. We're gonna have a deboned loin. Okay. Take that whole rack out of bones, and then we cut these into chops as well. So these would be loin chops. These are rib chops. Okay?
What's more sought after?
People like this. I like this more. This piece more. Okay.